Older men don't realize this is why younger women smile at them. Dark psychology of attraction. It happens fast. So fast you almost convince yourself it didn't happen at all. A younger woman glances at you. Her eyes hold for a second longer than they should. And then she smiles. You feel something shift in your chest. And a half second later, your brain steps in to shut it down. She's just friendly. It's nothing. Don't read into it. You've done this so many times, you don't even notice you're doing it anymore. But here's what should bother you. Why does your mind rush to kill that moment before you even get to sit with it? By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why that smile happened. And more importantly, why you've been trained to dismiss it before it means anything to you. Stay with me, because the real answer isn't what you think, and it isn't going to show up in the first 5 minutes. Before we go further, if this is the first time you're hearing someone actually explain this instead of joking about it, subscribe now. What I'm about to walk you through is going to reframe how you read every interaction from here on out, and you don't want to miss where this goes. Somewhere along the way, you absorbed a rule nobody ever said out loud. Attention has an age limit, that once you cross a certain point, you're no longer being noticed. You're being tolerated. So when a younger woman smiles at you, your mind doesn't file it as interest. It files it as politeness, manners, reflex. But ask yourself something. Why does a stranger need to be polite to a man she'll never see again in a moment that costs her nothing to simply ignore? That question is where this gets interesting, because the answer isn't politeness, it's response. And responses aren't taught, they're triggered. Here's the part almost nobody explains correctly. Younger men, most of them, are still performing. Still adjusting their voice, their posture, their jokes, based on how the room is receiving them. It's exhausting to watch, even if you don't consciously register why. You don't do that anymore. Not because you decided to stop, because you simply ran out of reasons to keep performing. And that absence of performance is loud, not in volume, in presence. She's not smiling at your age. She's smiling at the fact that you're not asking to be liked. But this isn't the full answer either. There's a layer underneath this one, and it's colder than confidence. Confidence gets people noticed. But confidence alone doesn't explain why a smile lingers. What lingers is safety, not physical safety, say emotional predictability. She can read you in half a second, nothing sudden, nothing needy, nothing that requires her to manage your reaction to her. Younger men are, more often than not, unpredictable in small ways, overexcited, overcorrecting, fishing for a response. It puts people on alert without them realizing it. You don't do that. You're not fishing for anything. And when a person senses they don't have to work to be around you, something in them relaxes. That relaxation shows up on the face before it shows up anywhere else. That's the smile. Not attraction yet. Relief. Subscribe mid-video. If this is landing for you, if you're starting to see moments from your own life differently right now, that's exactly why you should hit subscribe before the next section. Because what's coming is the part most men never let themselves consider. The uncomfortable truth about just politeness. Here's where most explanations stop, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. You've been telling yourself just being polite for years because the alternative, that it's real, forces you to question everything you were told about relevance and age. But politeness doesn't require eye contact that holds. Politeness doesn't require a smile that starts before words are exchanged. Politeness is a nod, a quick, closed-mouth acknowledgement. What you're describing is something else entirely, and some part of you has always known that. So why do you keep downgrading it? Because if it's real, you have to act. And if you have to act, you might be wrong. And if you might be wrong, you might feel foolish. So you never test it. You just explain it away every single time, and the loop resets. Why younger women are actually drawn to this. Let's flip the lens for a second and look at her world, not yours. Younger women, especially in their 20s, are surrounded by men her age who are still figuring themselves out. Still chasing validation, still narrating their ambitions before they've built anything, still unsure of their own boundaries. You're not asking her to validate you. You're not narrating a 5-year plan to impress her. You already know who you are, what you'll tolerate, and what you won't. That's rare. And rare things get noticed even when nobody says anything about it. The smile isn't about your age being ignored. It's about your certainty being impossible to ignore. The real test happening in that moment. Here's something almost no one talks about. That smile is often a test. And it's not testing whether you're attractive. It's testing whether you'll flinch if you look away too fast, overreact, laugh nervously, or try to turn it into something immediately. The moment closes. Not because she lost interest, but because your reaction told her the calm she noticed in you wasn't real. If you simply hold it, Steady, unhurried, no scramble to fill the silence. You pass a test you didn't even know you were taking. This is why composed men keep getting these moments repeatedly, while reactive men only get them once. Subscribe, second reminder. Quick pause. If you want more breakdowns like this, ones that actually explain the psychology instead of just giving you pickup lines, subscribe now. This channel exists for exactly this kind of thing, and there's more coming that builds directly on what we just covered. The final layer, when it's just real. Now, here's the part that's going to be hard for some of you to accept. Sometimes it isn't about presence or safety or contrast with younger men. Sometimes she smiles because she genuinely finds you attractive. Not attractive for your age, not as a compliment wrapped in distance, just attractive. And the discomfort you feel reading that sentence says more about what you were taught than what's actually true. Attraction was never a countdown clock. It's a byproduct of clarity. Knowing who you are, carrying yourself without asking permission, existing without apologizing for taking up space. Age doesn't erase that. In a lot of cases, it sharpens it because you've had decades to strip away the noise younger men are still carrying. Jay bringing the loop home. So let's go back to where we started. That moment, the smile, the half second you feel it, and the half second after where you talk yourself out of it. Now you know what's actually happening. It's not politeness, it's not an accident, it's a reaction to something you're carrying. Stillness, certainty, the absence of performance that most people never learn to hold on to. You don't need to chase these moments. You don't need to overanalyze them anymore either. You just need to stop shrinking them the second they happen. If this changed how you're going to read the next moment like this, that's exactly the point. Subscribe if you want more of these. Real psychology explained properly, no fluff. And if there's a moment like this that's stuck with you, drop it in the comments. I read everyone. End screen.